person who is too much attached to material activities, but one is engaged in such activities for the satisfaction of his sense gratification, whereas the other is engaged for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is required to show the people how to act and how to engage the results of action for the purpose of Krishna consciousness.
All right, so Prabhupada is explaining here that the activities may be the same. The person who is very materialistic and very attached, he may do the same work, he has the same activities as a devotee, the person who's Krishna conscious. They both may be working in the same place, they do the same job, but they have a very different consciousness. The one who is ignorant, he's in the bodily consciousness. So he's simply thinking about sense gratification. And he's working for sense gratification. He will enjoy the money he earns in sense gratification. And the devotee is working and he's thinking about Krishna. And he will use the money for the service of Krishna. And so the consciousness is very different. It's not the activities which make the difference, but it's the consciousness. So the consciousness, the attitude, you could say also, like the attitude which they have. One person is working just simply to enjoy. He's a karmi. And the other person is working for service to Krishna. He wants to please Krishna. So although they appear to be the same, they're very different. So, but a Krishna conscious devotee, he has to show the right attitude to people. He has to show people that although he's a devotee, he also works. He doesn't avoid doing work. He's also got a job. He can also work in earning, but he's a devotee. He's doing it all for Krishna and Krishna consciousness. So that's the purpose of Krishna consciousness. Krishna doesn't teach us to give up work. Just like he tells Arjuna, you have to fight. Arjuna had to fight because it's his duty. He's a Kshatriya and he's in the battlefield. So he has to take part in the battle. So the example is very important. And the example of devotee is work, but be detached. Be detached from the result. Don't be, thinking about sense gratification. Don't be just thinking about enjoying. We have to be detached. Okay? Any question on this?
Yes, Maharaj, I have a question. I found it this morning, Saturday morning here. Particularly, I was reading this verse before the class, and I found it particularly difficult. It's simple to understand, but it's difficult to put in practice because I'm surrounded in this society about just enjoying, the messages I receive, through publicity and you have to travel, you have to get a bigger car, and it's just this, that's the society is made of. And if I come up speaking about God, of Krishna, they just look at me with big eyes. So I find it very, not impossible, but very difficult. And I see that
you don't need to speak about Krishna.
What?
If you know they're not interested,
Exactly.
You don't need to speak about Krishna.
Exactly.
But you just work. You do your job.
Mm-hmm.
You do what you're supposed to do, and happily be joyful, be happy, because you chant Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Even if you chant only in the mind, you're remembering Krishna in the mind. Be joyful.
Yes.
They're not happy. Why? Because they're thinking about the body. They're thinking about sense gratification. But we're thinking about Krishna and Krishna's service. So we don't have to reveal our mind to them. We keep our mind secret. You know, our Krishna consciousness, that's something we keep to ourselves. You know, these people are not interested. They're just materialistic people. So you don't try to make a show. Don't try to be different. Externally, you just appear like them. But within yourself, you have to think of Krishna. Within yourself, you know you're not the body. You know you're a soul. You're convinced of that. So you keep that to yourself. And that in itself should keep you happy, should keep you peaceful. And you will remain undisturbed. Despite all the issues, all the crisis, all the pressure, you'll remain happy because you know you're in Krishna's hands.
Yes.
Right? There's an example. Prabhupada gives an example about the cat, and it's got a rat in its jaws, and another time it's got a kitten in its jaws. So they're both in the same place. They're both in the jaws of the cat, but one is a rat and one is a kitten. So when the rat is in the jaws of the rat is very fearful because he knows the cat is going to kill it. But the kitten is not worried because the kitten knows this is my mother. She's not going to kill me, I'm safe. So devotee is like that. The devotee is under the shelter of Lord Krishna. He doesn't have to be worried. He doesn't have to be fearful of anything. He's surrendered to Krishna, and Krishna is taking care of him. Right?
Completely right. Yes, yes, yes. Very good. Very good, yes. I don't have to convince anybody. I just have to be connected with Prabhupada and Krishna. That's all. Yes.
Yeah, you just be connected yourself. Yeah. You don't have to convince anybody else, you know. You know,
to change the society or whatever.
yeah, well, that's a big job, change the society. You know, it's not so easy thing to do, you know. We're just trying to, you know, first save yourself.
Yeah.
First save yourself. That's the important thing. So keep yourself above the material energy. Although they are in the material energy, you keep yourself above the material energy. The example is there about the lotus flower. The lotus flower sits on the water, not in the water. The lotus flower is never covered by the water. He's always above the water. So like that, you're in the material world, but you're not of it. You're not identifying, you're not caught up with the material world. You have to be like the lotus flower, right? Of course, in Switzerland, you don't have lotus flowers, I don't think, do you?
Yeah, we may. Yeah, in the botanic garden, the big, yeah, there is some.
Oh, okay.
In Ticino, Tessin, the south part of Italy, of Switzerland, it's very nice climate. We have to find the place. It's not all over. It's just special places.
Oh, okay. Well, some parts of Switzerland have a good climate, do they?
Yes, yes. The Italian part, it's south of Alps. You know, north of Alps, it's north climate, and south of Alps is Ticino. Is a Mediterranean climate, so it's mild.
Okay. So like that, you have to be, you know, like that lotus flower, just above the water. They're waterproof, you know, water just rolls off the lotus flower. The lotus flower doesn't get all wet. The water just rolls off it. So the material energy should just roll off you, you know? You don't get disturbed by it. You don't get put off by it. So many materialistic people are around you. Okay, so what? You know, you're Krishna conscious. You've got your relationship. You've got Krishna. You've got the holy name.
Thank you very
Just
much.
keep the mind steady, keep the mind focused. Don't worry about others. Yeah, they're there. Okay, no problem. Is it all right? You can handle it?
Yeah, with your help.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Very well.
Krishna's help, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we take help from Krishna. Krishna's our shelter.
Mhm.
Take the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, the lotus feet of Krishna. That's the real shelter. Okay, any other question? Okay, we'll go ahead.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. 3.26, Tanmay Prabhu, do you want to read this? Tanmay Prabhu, are you there? Hare Krishna. Okay, maybe Ramya Mataji, do you want to read this?
Okay, Vaishnavi.
Thank you, Mataji.
Na buddhi vidam janaye ajnamam karma sangeetanam joshayat sarva karmani vidvam yukta samasharan. Translation: so as not to disturb the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive result of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sort of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. Purport: Vedasha Shavir Agam Eva Vedyu. That is the end of all Vedic rituals. All rituals or performance of sacrifices and everything that is put into the Vedas, including all direction for material activities, are meant for understanding Krishna, who is the ultimate goal of life. But because the conditional soul do not know anything beyond sense gratification, they study the Vedas to the end. But through fruitive activities and sense gratification regulated by the Vedic rituals, one is gradually elevated to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, a realized soul in Krishna consciousness should not disturb others in their activities or understanding, but he should act by showing how the result of all work can be dedicated to the service of Krishna. The learned Krishna consciousness person may act in such a way that the ignorant person working for sense gratification may learn how to act and how to behave. Although the ignorant man is not to be disturbed in his activities, a slightly developed Krishna consciousness person may directly be engaged in the service of the Lord without waiting for other Vedic formulas. For this fortunate man, there is no need to follow the Vedic rituals, because by direct Krishna consciousness, one can have all the result one would otherwise derive from following one's prescribed duties. Hare Krishna.
All right. So there are two paths. You see, there's a direct path and the indirect path. The direct path is devotional service, Krishna consciousness. And so not everybody can go the direct path. We have to understand not everybody's going to be able to take the direct path. It's nice if you can, but it's it's not everyone. So the Krishna conscious person, he can go the direct way. He simply, offers the results for the service of Krishna. He's doing everything for the service of Krishna. He doesn't have to worry about the other things, about the Vedic rituals and so on. But another person is not so lucky. He's more entangled, and he has a lot of different activities, different duties to do. And so he's also very attached. And so, okay, let them do it, let them continue. They're very attached to the fruit, to the results of their work. Let them have the results of the work. We don't want them to stop work. Everybody has to work. We have to work, but we have to realize there's a purpose behind the work. So somebody's working, they're working, the materialist, he's working and he's working for sense gratification. And gradually, he may learn that he can offer a little bit of the results of his work for the service of Krishna. Prabhupada gives the example. He said, just like the monk came to the house of the person asking for charity, and the woman in the house, she was, no, not, he's coming, he wants to get money from me, he wants something. And so she came to the door and she said, look, I'll give you ashes. So the monk said, oh, okay, ashes, very good, give me ashes. And he was happy. She came, she brought some ashes, she gave the ashes to the monk. So the monk is happy, he got some ashes. Ashes, of course, is useless. But the monk is thinking that it's very good. She's giving something. I've got her, I've engaged her to give something. And in the future, she'll give more. And it will go on like that, you see. Gradually, people start very small, something very insignificant, but gradually it builds up. They start to do more. So that is a way of becoming attached to Krishna. Indirectly, people may go, they may do things like they do Vedic rituals, fruitive activities, sense gratification, regulated by the Vedic rituals. And then one gradually comes to Krishna consciousness. So that's going to take a while because they're materialistic people, they have attachments. So we have to recognize that, and we have to recognize their attachment. We have to understand what they're capable of doing. Just like when Prabhupada came to the West, he saw it was difficult for people, but his Guru Maharaj had told everyone to chant 64 rounds. So of course he came to America, people couldn't do it. 64 rounds? You take the whole day. Who can do it? But so then gradually he made some changes. He reduced it and became 16 rounds. The idea is bring people in to Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada's program was the rules and regulations, they come later. Somehow or other, get people attached to Krishna. Let them come and eat prasadam. They like prasadam, very good. Prabhupada would cook prasadam. They like kirtan, let them come and chant and dance. They like dancing and singing, okay, sankirtan. And they like eating, okay, prasadam. Prabhupada would bring people into Krishna consciousness without them even knowing it. People didn't even know that this was Krishna consciousness, that this was some religion. They didn't know. So made a big, gradually, Prabhupada would introduce things to people. So we have to be very conscious, somehow or other. Don't disturb people, and just somehow show them a good example. That let them see how you're happy. And then gradually, these people may also they may say to you, what's your secret? How is it you're so happy all the time? I get so angry all the time. I get so frustrated. I get so depressed. I never see you like that. You say, yeah, well, I have my own practice. I have my own meditation. I chant Hare Krishna. You have to tell people sometimes, if they ask you. Otherwise, you don't need to say. Just show them the example. And people will, one day, people will notice, and they'll come to you and they'll want to know, what's your secret? How do you do it? Right? So gradually try to engage people, get people to do something, a little something. Somebody's good at cooking, let them cook. Somebody's good at shopping, let them shop.
They asked him to. Thank you.
Any question?
Yes, one question, Guru Maharaj. Accept my humble obeisance. We shouldn't. One moment. We shouldn't discuss the Krishna consciousness with materialistic people, but we had to distribute it. Is it contradiction or not?
Well, there are ways to distribute it without actually, letting people know that it's Krishna consciousness. Just like, we go for chanting, we chant the holy name. People don't know what's going on. We're just chanting, they see us singing, dancing. What's happening? No, they just think, oh, some music, the young people, they like to sing and dance. They do not know it's something spiritual. They don't know this is a meditation. They don't know this is an expression of love for Krishna. And similarly, we distribute prasadam. And we give people prasadam to eat, food, spiritual food. Now, we don't tell people this is spiritual food. You just say, here, have a cookie. Here, have a sweet ball. So we distribute this Krishna's prasadam and let people taste. They taste the prasadam, they hear the holy name. They don't know, but they're getting spiritual benefit. They're getting Krishna consciousness. So there are ways to give Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we give books also. Let people have a book. So we can give Krishna without really letting people know who we are and what we're doing. I've had the experience myself, people coming to Krishna consciousness and associating with us, and it takes them months before they even can understand, oh, is this a religion? They never thought it was, because they're having such a good time. They're singing and dancing and cooking and eating, and they're hearing stories, people talking to them, telling stories, and they're enjoying. And they never consider this is a religion. They don't understand. It's a shock when they find out that this is actually some religious process. So we don't need to tell people. Sometimes if you tell people this is join our religion, come to our religion, that will never work. And Prabhupada never did that. Prabhupada never told people this is some religion, my religion. I want to convince you about my religion. No. Prabhupada just taught. He gave knowledge, spiritual education. Just try to understand the nature of life, the nature of the world, the nature of the mind and senses. Understand these things. So this knowledge is very important. This is real spiritual education. We need this education. We never got it. Nobody gave it to us. We didn't learn it anywhere, in the colleges, in the school, in the university. Nobody taught us this knowledge. It's very important and it's very precious. And so We don't have to let people know that we're educating you. No, we're just talking. If you like, if you're interested in what I'm saying, then hear. If you're not interested, okay, I don't mind. There's always other people to talk to. Other people will come. They'll be willing. So it's not a contradiction. Can you understand, Mataji?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, thank you very much.
Thank you for the question. All right. Vaishnavi,
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
what will we do?
Guru Maharaj, we can go for chanting, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Guru Maharaj.
Hare
Krishna, thank you, Guru
Have a great
Maharaj.
week. Thank you.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Have a good week. See you
Thank
next week.
you.
Thank
See
Thank
you
you.
you,
next
you
week, Guru
too, Gurudev.
Maharaj. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
all.
Thank you, all devotees.
Yuna,
Thank you, Mataji.
Yuna,